Danny Green is a terrible playoff
Seth
player.
3-and-D.
Seth
man.
Curry is.
How is he a terrible playoff player?
Did
Look
you
at his years
did you
with the
watch him?
Spurs.
He
Look
literally
at his years with the
yeah, and how
Welcome to 5280 Real Talk. We're back with our second episode. Really excited for this week.
I'm Avi Cohn.
I'm Gavin Foonberg.
I'm Milan Nagel.
All right, this week's trivia question. Who has thrown the most career no-hitters? Your options are Cy Young, Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, and Sandy Koufax. Stay tuned for the end of the episode to see if you get it right.
Well, we got some really good games this week once again. This week we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to have a game of the week instead of multiple different primetime games. First game this week, we got the Sixers versus the Nets, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Elon?
I have the Nets in this one. The Nets pretty much look unstoppable with their big three. I think they are by far the most talented team in the NBA. And those two teams are fighting for the first seed, which is a huge seed in the East because you might end up facing a team like the Celtics or the Heat, which even though they're a low seed right now, they're not a team you want to face.
Yeah,
in
and
the
then if you're the
playoffs.
one seed, you could wind up playing like the Knicks.
Yeah. So I think that's a big matchup, but I think that the Nets are going to win it.
I disagree. I think I'm taking the Sixers here. I think the Nets are definitely a very talented team, but I think the Sixers can match this team. And I think, the Nets have some good defensive centers, DeAndre Jordan being one, but I think Joel Embiid is going to have a really good game, and I think Ben Simmons, that's an interesting matchup with him and Kevin Durant, and I think Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are going to take this one.
But how do you think they're going to defend James Harden?
Dude, Danny Green, lockdown.
Danny Green.
Danny
Danny
Green's a
Green.
lockdown.
You think Danny Green is going to defend James Harden?
3-and-D. He's the best 3-and-D player in the league.
100%.
Best 3-and-D player in the
100%.
He is.
I agree.
He is.
There's
Definitely.
no way you believe that.
I'm going with the Sixers as well
Yeah.
in this one.
Thank
That is
you.
ridiculous.
Thank you.
You really think that Danny Green is going to lock up James Harden?
Absolutely.
No one
He's
in
not
the
going to
league can
lock him
lock
up,
him
but
up.
he's going to contain him.
And who's going to guard Kyrie Irving?
Dude, Seth Curry.
Seth Curry.
Seth Curry.
Yeah.
Gamer.
Seth Curry.
Seth Curry is a gamer.
All right. Well, I'm going with the Sixers because Joel Embiid's going to go for 50. He's proved his case to be an MVP player the entire year, and he doesn't do it any better than when he's playing against a good team.
The Sixers have one player that the Nets can't guard. The Nets have two.
LaMarcus
maybe-
Aldridge cannot move. He's
Yeah.
ancient.
Come on.
And does that mean he can't guard?
Embiid? No, he cannot guard Embiid.
Embiid
Yeah,
is going to...
I agree.
Oh my
I agree they
goodness.
can't guard Embiid, but the Sixers have two players that they cannot guard on the Nets.
Kevin Durant is like the skinniest 7-foot player ever. Ben Simmons overpowers.
I agree.
Kevin
Ben
Durant.
Simmons will be
and
able to contain Kevin
Blake
Durant.
Griffin, in 17 minutes,
Oh.
had 2 points. He makes them worse. And his minutes are just going to keep going up. And
Why are
he's
his minutes going to
terrible.
go up if he's dropping 2 points?
Because it's Blake Griffin.
What?
They need to get him into the flow.
It's Steve Nash. He's not like a. They're coaches. It's not House of Highlights running the team.
What are you saying?
House of Highlights picks the most overhyped players like LaMelo.
Everyone all over ESPN was, oh, Blake Griffin's terrible. Blake Griffin's terrible. Gets traded to the Nets. Oh, the Nets are the best team of all time.
What?
Yeah, you don't have social media, so you don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's how it was.
Also, if you need someone to guard Kyrie or Harden, put like Korkmaz out there.
Korkmaz.
He can play defense.
I understand he can play defense, but can he really play defense on Harden, who is potentially the
No
best?
one can play defense on Harden, but he can contain him.
yeah.
Contain him. I don't think he can contain
No
him.
one can contain him.
No
to
one
be
is-
honest. No one can guard him. But as long as
I'm
they can
telling you.
lock down with Danny Green's
Yeah.
3-and-D, shutting down Kyrie,
Exactly.
and then KD is going to be probably on limited minutes still.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if KD is on limited minutes still,
I mean,
and
Ben Simmons
Harden
is
might.
roaming around on
Yeah.
defense.
Ben Simmons is lockdown, defensive
agree.
player of the year.
I agree, but that doesn't. I don't understand how they're going to guard the two other players on their team.
Well, they better figure it out because they could be matching up in the
Yeah.
Eastern Conference Finals
They
this year.
definitely could.
All right. Moving on to the MLB this week's series, we got the Cardinals and the Nationals. Gavin, who you taking?
I'm going with the Cardinals. They're 5-4 right now at the moment, and the Nationals are just not playing great ball. They're 1-4, I think. And from Colorado, I'm a Rockies fan, and Nolan Arenado got traded there, and he's He's an incredible player. He was almost the MVP on the Rockies, and I think the Cardinals are going to pull this one out.
I don't really think it's fair to point at the Nationals' record at this point in the season.
Yeah.
They've just come off a series against the Dodgers, and who's going to beat the Dodgers in a series this year? Very few teams are. I'm taking the Nationals in this one. The Nationals are an extremely talented team, and I think that because they're such a talented team, they have Max Scherzer pitching, they have Trey Turner, who is still yet to completely break out, but I feel like he's on the verge of it, verge of being a star player, top 10 in the MLB. Potentially, and I think the Nationals are going to pull it out.
Okay, I agree with you on the front that you can't talk about the Nationals' record because they just came off a series against the Dodgers and they've only played 5 games.
But they lost to the Braves as well.
True. The Braves are
Braves
good,
are a
though.
great
The
team.
Braves are good,
But going back to this series, Trey Turner is not on the verge of being a top 10 player in the
I
MLB.
disagree.
I think he's a good player. He can steal a lot of bases and he gets on base. Top 10 in the MLB, though, you're crazy.
I'm
taking the
not
Cardinals.
counting pitchers, first of all.
Okay,
Because
even still.
that you can't compare hitters and pitchers in
Yeah.
my opinion.
I agree.
But Trey Turner, there's no one in the MLB, in my opinion, that has the capability of getting on base and getting so many base. When he gets on first base, it's almost a triple because he's so fast and he could just steal all the way to third a lot of the time. Maybe not every time, but when he gets on base, you have to be so cautious that he doesn't steal a second and he's all of a sudden in scoring position. If that ball gets into the outfield on the ground, it's a run.
I agree. I think he's a valuable player in that right. And I think a guy like Mookie Betts does that a lot. But I just wouldn't go as far as to say that he's going to be a top.
I agree he's not there yet and he has to prove a lot more, but I think that's a reasonable expectation for him coming out of the season.
Okay. Well, I'm taking the Cardinals. I think they have a really talented team. Guys like Arenado, Goldschmidt, I think their pitching is still there. You know, Wainwright's there. Flaherty's still pitching well. So I'm taking the Cardinals.
All right, on to our bold takes. I got the Suns losing in the first round. The Lakers, the West is just so tight right now. With the Lakers dropping they're going to wind up playing either like the Mavericks, the Portland, or the Lakers. And that's not good. The Jazz they definitely have some experience playing against the Nuggets last year and almost beating the Nuggets, but so do the Mavericks. They almost knocked off the Clippers. Of course, the Lakers do. And the Portland's made it to the Western Conference Finals, I think 2 years ago, right? They knocked off the Nuggets. So I got the Suns losing in the first round.
I disagree. I don't think the Suns are going to lose in the first round.
Wait. One more thing. Chris Paul does not know how to win in the playoffs. He doesn't.
I don't think it's Chris Paul's fault that he's never won. He played on.
He's played with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, which was a great team.
All they did
he
was
played
dunk.
with James Harden.
All they did was dunk.
Yeah,
James
yeah,
Harden,
and then he
made it
played
to
with James
They
Harden.
made it to the conference finals
Yeah.
with James Harden.
Yeah.
And they lost in 7 to one of the best teams ever.
Yeah, the Warriors with Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Steph Curry.
Okay, still, he's never been able to get over the hump.
Okay,
and the Suns are not nearly as good as the teams he was on in the past.
I completely disagree.
Suns.
I think the Suns are a very good team. I think
They
Devin
have-
Booker.
They have Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and the rest are nobodies.
DeAndre Ayton is having a great year. They have a great role player. Michael
DeAndre
Bridges.
Ayton is so okay. He's so decent.
He has so much potential, but I agree with your take. I don't think the Suns are going to make it out of the first
Yeah,
round.
he has potential, but that's in the future, not this year.
Yeah, but he can show when he plays well, and I feel like if he gets the playoffs, he'll show it. But I still agree with you because the Suns are so young, other than Chris Paul. I think this is a team that's going to be dangerous in years to come, but right now they're a regular season
Their
team.
backup point guard is a dancer.
He's been playing well this year.
Cameron Payne is garbage.
Okay,
I watched him miss a wide open layup the other day.
yeah, I disagree with you guys. I think the Suns are going to make it out of the first round. I think their only kryptonite is if they play the Lakers, but I think other than that, I think they can win a 7-game series against a team like the Blazers or the Mavericks.
The
Against Dame time?
You think they'll beat the Blazers?
I think they can.
I can see
Who's
them
guarding?
beating the Mavericks.
Who's guarding Damian Lillard? Chris Paul's gonna tear his hamstring again.
Okay, predict the future.
He will. If he has to guard Damian Lillard, he will tear his hamstring.
Who's guarding C.J. McCollum?
Devin Booker,
Devin Booker is not a good defender.
great. He's still guarding C.J. McCollum.
They might have Mikal Bridges on him, which is a good idea.
Or
'cause
they'll
he's
just
a
have
good
Cameron Payne.
Cameron Payne. But
Yeah, put Bridges on him. Like,
I don't think that they're ready to handle a team like the Blazers. I think all reasonable options for them to play: the Blazers, the Nuggets, maybe if they drop the Lakers.
They're
Maybe
not going to play the Nuggets.
They could.
They could. They
I
just
don't
they
think
just
the Nuggets
choked
are
a
dropping that far.
30. They went on. They just the Celtics just went on a 33-3 run against
31.
them today.
31.
31-3 run against them today.
So-
So it's pretty bad.
But I think that they're pretty much done for unless they get to play someone like the Grizzlies, which I think they'll win that series, and maybe I still would have the Mavericks, but I could see them winning a series against the Mavericks. I can't see them winning a series against anyone else.
Okay, the Blazers, though, I think Ayton is a mismatch for the Blazers, in my opinion.
Ayton
Yeah.
is
I
definitely
think
unless Nurkic is
Enes
back.
Kanter grabbed 30 boards yesterday.
No, but Enes Kanter is probably the worst defensive center in
Yeah,
all of
he's
the
horrible.
NBA.
He's not a good defensive center.
It's true. It's true.
And, even if, Nurk is back, I still
But
don't.
then again, I think Dame is a mismatch for the Suns.
I agree, but I feel like the
Dame is a
Suns...
mismatch for anyone.
I mean, Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook is honestly one of the best guards, defensive guards in the league, right? And he couldn't even guard Damian Lillard,
Yeah.
or Paul George, because Paul George had to guard him some of that time, and Paul George is a great defender. How is CP3 supposed to guard Damian Lillard? It's not possible.
I mean,
He'll
okay,
literally score 50 points every night.
if you put Devin Booker... I know Devin Booker is not the best defensive player, but I don't think anyone in the playoffs is going to lock up Damian Lillard. I honestly think he could have, mid-30s every night.
He will have mid
I mean, he
every
will.
night.
But I feel like the Suns have
Who's that third leading scorer for the Suns?
Ayton.
Sometimes he just goes out there and has 4 points.
But I think they have
Everyone does.
No, not stars. Not the good players. They don't go out there and get 4 points.
But then again, he's a third
Besides
leading
Jamal
scorer.
Murray.
He's a third leading scorer. He doesn't need to have 25
a third leading
a night.
scorer on the second best team in the West. That's what I'm saying. They're a good team, but they're not this. They're a regular season team.
I agree. They're a regular season team.
They have literally no
But they
experience.
could prove us wrong.
Devin Booker has never won in his.
This team, I
He's
think,
never been on a winning team until this year
Yeah.
in the NBA.
I think this team can be dangerous if Chris Paul stays. Chris Paul is a winner, and he's shown that. This is almost the same roster that they had last year, plus Chris Paul.
Yeah.
And look how much better they are. And they'll be dangerous if Chris Paul can still play at this level next year and the year after that, but right now they're not ready, I don't think.
They definitely need one more player, especially with Chris Paul getting old.
I don't think they need one more player.
Yeah.
I think they need one more year.
With Chris Paul getting old, though,
Chris Paul's getting old.
just gonna
but
get worse and worse.
Chris Paul's a guy that can still make such a huge impact when
It's like
he's old.
Rondo.
It's true.
Like Rondo still makes such a huge
Rondo
impact.
is the most underrated guard in the league.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's so good.
We'll play off Rondo.
Playoff.
Alright, Elon,
Playoff.
what do you got for us today?
George.
All right, my bold take is that the representative of the East in the finals will not be the Nets or the 76ers. Because
What did you just say?
Can you repeat what you just
I
said?
said the Nets and the 76ers will not be making
Okay,
or
the Heat are the most overrated team. They were good in the bubble.
When did I see the Heat was going to make
Okay,
it?
I'm just gonna count out all the other teams that have a chance to make it.
All right.
The Heat,
Are we just gonna ignore the Bucks?
and I was gonna get there.
Okay.
The Heat are a great team, but they aren't making it this year.
Why?
Because Tyler Hero's not playing good.
And was he playing well in the regular season?
Yeah.
No, but the bubble was like a completely different thing.
Great.
All the players were saying how it's easier to shoot and there's no fans or anything. It's different. They didn't even want to play, to be honest. Some of them wanted to leave.
Okay.
I mean,
they
Jamal
did.
Murray did until.
Okay, and the Bucks are obviously. I think they could make the finals for sure, and I think they're a sleeper team because they haven't been as talked about this year. Ever since they kind of got destroyed last year in the playoffs, but the fact that the two top teams, they're in not a very incredible East. Like, that's a good East, but it's not like 1 through 8 stack like the West. There's no way not one of those two teams are going to make the Eastern Conference Finals or the championship.
All right. When you look at a team like the Sixers, I have no reason to believe that they are going to go far.
Why?
Because
Do you realize that
because
Joel Embiid is like on a revenge tour?
I completely get that, but they got swept. I get they didn't have Ben Simmons last year, but they got swept by the Celtics last year. And I'm not saying the Celtics aren't a good team, but they got
The
swept.
Celtics were a very good team last
Okay,
year.
but
They had
if
3
you-
All-Stars or
if
2
you
All-Stars
look
and
at-
Jaylen Brown, who was really good.
If you look at last year's Sixers team, one, without Ben Simmons, even disregarding that, the amount of role players they've added this year,
Yeah.
Danny Green, Seth Curry.
Even Dwight Howard.
Yeah, even Dwight
Like-
Howard, totally different team.
Danny Green is a terrible playoff
Seth
player.
Curry?
3 and D,
Seth
man.
Curry is.
How is he a terrible playoff player?
Did
Look
you
at his
see-
years
did you
with the
watch him in-
Spurs.
he
Look at
literally-
his years with the
Yeah, and
Toronto.
how old was he when he was on the Spurs?
Not very old. But
Whatever.
he's won like so many championships.
Did you
He won
watch the
with
playoffs
Spurs.
last year? Did you watch the playoffs last
Yes!
year? He missed a wide open three.
Everyone misses.
J.R. Smith-
No!
Everyone misses.
He couldn't make a shot in the finals last year. He couldn't make it.
Okay, he didn't have a great year, but he's playing well this year. It's a completely new year. Seth Curry's a great shooter as well.
Yeah.
I mean, when Ben Simmons is just eating people alive and dishing to them two in the corners,
I think they're a good team, but I don't think they're kind of like the Suns. They're still young and they don't have that playoff
they
experience.
what do you mean? They've been a top team for the past 5 years,
They-
3 years.
It comes in stages. You get to the first round, you lose there. You get to the second round, you lose there, and eventually after that, you are ready to make it to the finals.
Apparently, it comes in stages.
It does come.
It's like a system nowadays. That's how it works according to Elon.
Okay. I don't think it is necessarily like a set system, but I do see where you're going. If you look at past years in the NBA, they're coming up of stars. Like, you feel like a Michael Jordan's career, for example. He lost to the Bad Boy Pistons, like, I think it was 2 or 3 years in a row. Comes back, and then he goes on a three-peat. Like,
Yeah, exactly. They just lost like the past 3 years against one. They should have made the finals last year, or 2 years ago.
when they lost,
When they
lost
to
to
Kawhi.
Toronto.
When they lost to Kawhi.
Why should they have made the finals?
I mean,
Because
they
they
maybe
were
should
crap.
not. They shouldn't have made it, but they were literally a game-winning shot
There was
away.
still another round there.
But still, but then Toronto just went on easily to go to the
It
championship.
wasn't easily. They won in 6 games.
It was pretty easy.
It
for
wasn't
them.
easy.
I thought it was pretty easy.
It
For
wasn't
them.
easy.
Okay, Elon,
Either way,
going back to the Nets and the Sixers, I completely disagree with this.
Yeah.
I think that the Bucks, good team. Heat, good team. Celtics, good team. But bottom line is, undisputed top 2 teams in the East are the Bucks, or not the Bucks, the Nets and the Sixers. And I think
I agree.
it's
but I
near
don't-
impossible for one of these 2 teams. Not
near
to.
impossible. You think it's near impossible for the Celtics or the Heat to make it to
The Celtics are so bad
the
this
two
year.
the two teams that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. I don't care if it was in a bubble. You think it is near impossible for them to make
Is it gonna be in a bubble again this year?
No.
Okay,
If it is,
I have news
Miami
for
is
you.
winning the championship.
I have news for you.
What?
Last year, the Nets were not like
Yes.
insane.
Yeah. Last year, the Nets didn't have 3 MVP
I
players
get
on
that.
their team.
But that team,
And Blake Griffin.
that Nets team is going to have chemistry issues come the playoffs. You know why? Because in the regular season they can kind of all settle down. They can, let each other. They can play through each other. But
Chemistry
come the
issues
Nets,
are not really a big problem when you have 3 players that can go out and drop
it
30
doesn't-
every night.
You know why everyone's going to want to be the hero on that
30?
team.
What do you mean?
You don't.
James Harden's having a 60-point triple-double.
He's,
We've seen him do
We
this.
had
in
Harden and
stretches.
Westbrook on the same team. How did that work out? And I guess
Westbrook is literally like the worst player to play with.
He's and Kyrie.
Kyrie is a good player to play with. He's just not a good locker
Not
room
remember the
player.
2016 Cavs, Elon.
Yeah, I do.
And he was a perfect second
And
option.
this 2016 Kyrie.
It's
It's Kyrie who
Kyrie.
decides to take a game off because his butterfly got hurt or something. Like he takes a game off for any reason.
Yeah, he does take games off, but he's not going to take games off in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, and come the playoffs, all 3 of them are gonna be heroes.
they
They're all
don't
gonna
even
wanna
need to be heroes.
They don't need to. I agree.
Why
If they didn't want to be heroes,
They
they
all
would be
can be
fine.
heroes. Kevin Durant, his first game back, had
Dude.
19 points or 17?
17, and he didn't
In
miss
like
a shot.
in like 15
I get
minutes,
that.
he'd win 100% from
All
the field.
3 of them are going to be playing hero ball come the playoffs. All of them. That's all they're going to want to do. They're going to be like, I want to take the game-winning shot. They're not going to pass. They're not going to pass to Joe Harris.
Hey, if
You're
I
so
was Steve
you're so
Nash-
high on Joe Harris. Why would I pass to Joe Harris? I have me on my team.
Because Joe Harris is like a 41%
Yeah.
three-point shooter.
And
No,
Kevin
if they
Durant-
want to win a championship, they'll not play hero ball completely.
And
Okay,
I'm
Elon,
not sure
I have a
they're
What,
question
does
for
one
you.
of them think that they're going to go out there and score 100 points?
I have a
Oh,
question
I need
for
to be
you.
the hero and score
If you're the
100
Nets,
points.
who do you have taking the last shot?
I have no idea. One of the 3. One of the 3.
If you don't
I think
have
it's
KD,
either-
you're psycho.
Yeah, I think it's Kevin Durant. Easy.
No one can block a shot. It's like an automatic good look.
It's not even that, dude.
Okay,
Slim
and what does
Reaper.
that have to do with anything?
They
He's
will.
Kevin, like, oh,
Like, I think that Steve Nash agrees with us in saying
Yeah.
that it's going to be KD taking the final shot. And I think all of them can agree with that. And KD will be taking final shot. Like, it's gonna happen. There's no chemistry issue.
There's no
Why
Draymond
would-
to just take the ball from Kevin Durant.
Why would James Harden not take the last shot? James Harden, we've seen him hit game
Because
winners
His
over.
game winners are nuts. They're insane, right?
Yes,
But KD has a higher percentage of.
and
the shot.
Kyrie,
his shot is up 12 feet in the air.
Kyrie hit one of the biggest shots of all time in the finals. Why is he not taking the final shot?
Because
that shot
you
was-
take the higher percentage, and the higher
Yeah.
percentage is having KD take the shot.
Yeah, and you think the other two are going to be happy about that?
They'll be fine with it. If they
Huh?
want to win a championship, they better be happy with
Yeah,
it.
and you know why? I don't think they're going to win a championship.
Why would they all go to the same team? Why would James
Yeah.
Harden want to go to Brooklyn if he wanted to be the guy?
Yeah, because they have to be the guy.
No,
You're
James Harden.
psycho. He
I-
was the guy. Why
Maybe
would he not want
maybe Kyrie, but James Harden wants to win a championship. I believe that.
I
so
agree. I
badly.
think
That's
they
why
all
he
wanna
went to
win a
Brooklyn.
Yeah,
championship.
that's why he went to
He
Brooklyn.
wants to get. He doesn't want to be an MVP.
I just don't
with
think
no
the
ring.
three will
Yeah,
I saw a post on Instagram today, which was MVP guards with no rings, and it's like Derrick Rose,
Yeah.
all those players. He doesn't want to be a part of that list. He went to Brooklyn to win a championship and to sacrifice
Yeah.
to win a championship.
I agree,
He
but
literally
I
almost
don't.
sat out the year so that he can get traded.
I think come the playoffs, they're not going to work well together.
Okay, well that's a bold take in itself.
Yeah.
So
Okay. My bold take for today: the Lakers are not making it out of the first round. Now, before you just,
Okay.
I know you guys are laughing.
I agree with Elon more than I agree with you.
Okay. My
They're
reasoning,
gonna wind up playing against the Suns or the Jazz or like
as I said before,
one
the
of those
Suns
two?
are making it out of the first round.
yeah, but no, you
I said the Suns are making it out.
And you think
Okay.
they're beating the Lakers.
and you think they're beating the Lakers.
You're telling me the team that won the
Hey,
championship
relax.
last year.
McCall Bridges is an incredible
He
defender.
is.
Whoa, wait. You're telling me the team with arguably the GOAT, but widely known as the second best player of all time.
He's the goat.
He is not.
Okay,
We're not doing
this is
this
not,
right now.
not today.
We can do this
You
later.
think that him with Anthony Davis, who just won the finals
The
last
only
year,
way they
they're
are-
going out in the first round.
The only way they're you can't be serious.
I'm serious.
The only way they're not making out is if they both tear their ACLs.
Or if they play the Clippers, maybe, the Clippers are a good matchup for them.
They're not going to get to the 1 seed though. The Jazz are
But
so good. in the
even-
regular season.
Even if that happens, counting the arguably the best team in the league out, who just won the championship with the best player in the NBA, with another top at least 10 player in the NBA, out in the first round where they will most likely play either the Suns or the Blazers, you're crazy.
Okay, I think that LeBron and AD have been injured. They're still out right now. I think they're gonna have problems, and LeBron needs AD, and AD needs LeBron.
Do you think if they're injured, they're not going to make it out
No.
in the first round?
That's not what I'm saying. I think when they come back, they're gonna have problems.
Why would they have problems? They've been playing together
They played
for a
with each
year
other
and
for a
half.
year. They won a championship in their first year together.
Okay, I
Do you
just
think they have chemistry issues?
okay. Let's
LeBron is the least out of any of these players in the NBA that cares about his own stats more than winning a championship. He does okay, think about this. Every single time you scroll down TikTok, you see, oh, LeBron's not the GOAT. Wait, don't talk about this. Or LeBron's not like Kobe or Jordan because Jordan and Kobe would take the final shot with 5 guys on him. But LeBron would swing it to wide open Danny Green, who would miss it. And everyone would be like, why didn't you take it? He'd be like, because it was the smarter play was to get a guy a wide open shot than try and shoot over 5 guys.
Okay, but when you're LeBron James, you should be shooting over 5 guys.
No, you shouldn't.
Okay, you were just talking about how Danny Green was so amazing for the Sixers, and LeBron is gonna pass it to a widely known good 3-point shooter instead of shooting it over 4 different
No,
players.
it's not about that. It's not about that. It's Danny Green. It's about that it's anyone. LeBron should not be passing the ball in the final
Why?
second.
Why? If he's getting smothered, why not try and get someone a wide open
He's
shot?
not gonna he's arguably the GOAT.
The only guy I see that does that other than LeBron is Doncic. He gives Tim Hardaway wide open threes for the win. And who's their big white guy shooter?
Kleber.
Kleba.
Maxi Kleber.
Kleba. Yeah, that guy. He takes game-winning shots because Doncic will be getting smothered, and he makes them.
Okay,
It's the right play.
bottom line, I think the Suns, if they play the Lakers, the Suns are a bad matchup for the Lakers.
What?
And I think
Who's guarding AD? DeAndre Ayton?
yes,
DeAndre Ayton is not a great defensive center.
he's guarding AD.
Okay, who's guarding LeBron?
Michael Bridges, and let me explain.
McCall.
Bridges, whatever. We have seen not great players like guard LeBron and play so well. Take Andre Iguodala in the 2015 Finals.
Not great players.
He won Finals MVP.
Andre Iguodala is just a little better than McCall Bridges.
I agree, but it's not like Andre Iguodala was like the leader of that team.
I agree that.
Well, he was like their fifth option or fourth option because he was on the Warriors. He was still an All-Star like 2 years before.
Michael Bridges
a
is
year
still
before
fourth
that.
option.
I agree that the Suns are not the best matchup for the Lakers in the first round. But it's the Lakers and it's the Suns. And if you don't understand what that means, the Suns haven't made it out of the first round since when? I don't know, probably since they had Sean Marion.
And Steve Nash.
And the Lakers just won the championship and they have
LeBron has he
they have
ever
a
even
player-
lost in the first round?
I'm not sure if he's ever lost in the first round.
Didn't he go to the finals 8 straight years in a row?
Yeah, what
Is
was
your,
his
you
record
think he's
against-
going to get out in the first?
4-6.
He went to the finals with Anderson Varejao as his second best player.
Yeah, and he got killed.
Yeah, who
but
cares?
he got out of the first round. He's never not going to get out of the first
I
round.
agree.
Especially if he has an
LeBron
all-star
and
with
AD
him.
are injured, maybe if LeBron is injured. If AD is the only one healthy, maybe they don't make it out of the first round. If LeBron is playing in that series, they're winning the series, 100%.
Honestly, even if AD doesn't play, I still think they're winning.
Yeah,
LeBron.
100%.
I disagree.
He
AD
doesn't. He doesn't know how to lose. He can't lose in the
Are
first
you-
round. In the first round, he can't lose. He gets to the finals every year, Avi. Every year.
They were the 4 seed without Kyrie. Guess what he did? Made the finals. I know he got swept by the Warriors, but that doesn't matter. He
Yeah,
made the
he got
finals.
swept by the best team, arguably
Okay,
one of the
but
best teams of all
that
time.
East,
Who cares about the East?
that East was horrible.
And the Suns are so overrated. They're a regular season team. The Jazz are a regular season team. They have never proven that they can win. Devin Booker has never even made the playoffs.
That's because the people around him until this
The
year
only thing
and
they
until
added.
last year.
The only thing they added was Chris Paul.
I said until this year and last year, the Suns, besides Devin Booker, were horrible since they drafted him.
All right, and who did they add since last year?
No, I said since this year and last year. Got Chris Paul. A few years ago, they added Ayton, Bridges.
All right.
Alright.
I think that is a ridiculous take to have the defending champs.
End of discussion. Avi is mental.
I agree.
I think you guys will see.
Well, I guess we will see.
You guys will see.
I'll be stoked when that happens. All right, here's our weekly play breakdown. We had an incredibly controversial play where Anthony Bass was pitching to Michael Conforto, and here's the pitch. It appeared to be a strike, but at the same time, Conforto's elbow leans into the pitch, and he gets skimmed by it just barely, and it appeared to be a strike, but at the same time, it was called a hit by pitch. I don't know why it's allowed to be called a hit by pitch. He clearly leaned into the ball. I'm not sure if it would be allowed for someone to just jump in front of the plate and get hit by a pitch, because he just leaned into the ball when it was clearly a strike. So, and here's Don Mattingly arguing the call, clearly frustrated because it doesn't make sense. It appears that maybe it's in the rule book because the game ended this way, they didn't even review it. I'm not sure if they're allowed to review it, but yeah, Conforto clearly was trying to get hit by the pitch. The rule in baseball is that you have to try to avoid getting hit by the pitch. He was obviously not avoiding. Maybe that's just his swing, I doubt it, but it was just a crazy play, and that's our weekly play breakdown.
Elon, thanks for the play breakdown. Crazy play in the MLB. But here are our standout players for this episode. So mine's Ryan McMahon. The guy started the season really hot. He's batting .333, 5 home runs. That's tied for the lead in the MLB. You know, this guy, Ryan McMahon, he usually is not that great of a player, but he's really had a breakout start to the season.
You know, I agree with you. He's definitely a standout because he's never really been this good before. Batting, .333?
Yeah.
With 6 home runs?
5.
5 home runs, leading the MLB, which is very impressive. But if we're talking about the long term, he's definitely going to cool off. I don't see him playing as well the rest of the year. I mean, he could because losing Nolan Arenado, you know, he's got to be a guy to step up. But I don't see him being this good the rest of the season.
Well, I think in the MLB, I think everyone has a part of the season where they cool off. I mean, I think it's very rare for guys to just be consistently like MVP level all season long.
All right, but let's talk about the Rockies in past years. They always start hot
Yeah.
and then they cool down.
But that's as a team. It's not like certain players.
Yeah.
But it's a team. It's a team game.
I agree. It's
Players
true, but-
contribute to the team.
Yeah, but we're just talking about the single player, and
Yeah.
I think Ryan McMahon. I don't.
That's why I said he's definitely a standout, but I don't think he's going to be
I don't
this good the rest
necessarily-
of the year.
Yeah, I think it's kind
I
of
agree.
impossible to be this good the rest of the
Yeah.
year.
Well,
but
obviously not this good, but I don't think he's going to be like
I think he
an
will.
all-star.
I think he'll
or
be
anything.
widely recognized as the Rockies' best hitter this season. They still have Trevor Story, so
And Blackman.
maybe not.
Yeah.
Blackman, I don't think he's gonna.
He's so consistent. I like Blackman a lot.
Yeah, but I don't think he's starting to get old.
But
That's
I
true.
also think
But he's also like so fast. He's like if he hits it, it's like a triple sometimes.
Yeah.
another
Just
thing
to the
that
right field.
stands out to me about McMahon so far is out of the 4 guys that have 5 home runs, Byron Buxton, JD Martinez, and Tyler Naquin, and McMahon obviously. So Martinez and Naquin each have 8 strikeouts so far, and Buxton has 5, which is great, but McMahon has 6, which I think, yes, he has 5 home runs, but also only having 6 strikeouts, that's a really good home run to strikeout ratio.
Yeah, it is.
And I feel like
That's
a lot of guys that hit a lot of home runs and
Yeah,
are known
like
for that.
who's the pitcher on the pitcher who's the good batter as well?
Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah, Bumgarner.
No, not him.
Otani.
Otani.
Yeah, Otani.
Yeah,
On the
Otani.
Angels.
He has gone. He's hit 2 home runs and then struck out the rest of the time.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I think
he's
it's kind
good.
of a stereotype of home run hitters that
Like
yes, they hit a
Stanton.
lot of home runs,
Stanton strikes out.
but
a
they
ton.
strike out a lot.
Yeah,
So
because they kind of go like
They
all or
just
nothing.
go for the
Yeah.
dinners. All right. Well, my standout for this week is Andre Drummond. You know, he's clearly proven that he can be an all-star. He's been an all-star before, but this year he's just been kind of not great. He's obviously a great rebounder, and he always will be a great rebounder, but he's never really been able to go for 20, you know, like consistently. And obviously last night was the first time he really went. He had a great, he put up 20 points, but this year for the Lakers, but I think he's going to be a great player, and he needs to play this well if they are going to if they're going to avoid a play-in game.
The thing that I disagree with that is that I don't see him as a standout. I think he's already an established good player.
Why do all these teams want to get rid of him then?
Because he didn't want to play for the Cavs. He sat out for the Cavs. And what do you mean
Yeah.
all these teams? He just
Detroit?
are those good teams?
yeah,
No, they're not good teams. So why are they trying to get rid of him if he's their
He
only
wanted
good
to
player?
leave.
Because they want to
But they're
rebuild.
getting rid of him for
They wanna rebuild.
absolutely nothing.
and
They
also
wanna
in my opinion, Andre Drummond is a guy for the Pistons and the Cavs. He's not a guy that you start a team with. He's a guy you bring in later to be a solid defensive stopper, a rebounder, but he's not a guy that you
Yeah,
build
Drummond
a team
was the
around.
guy on those teams.
Yeah, he's not a guy that you build a team
Yeah.
around. Like when your
Sure.
duo is Blake Griffin and Andre
Yeah.
Drummond.
He also
Problems.
just does not provide any floor spacing
No,
at all.
he doesn't. But,
But
I think he's an amazing rebounder, arguably the best in the NBA.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying, but I think he's a standout because he needs to play this well the rest of the year if they want to avoid a play-in game.
Yeah.
You know, that's why he came to my attention. I do have one more standout player though, in Gary Trent. He dropped 44 the other night, and I thought he was really impressive on Portland when he played for Portland. He was just playing behind one of the best backcourts in the league.
Okay,
So
I think a lot of players can just go off for a night. I mean, a couple years ago,
44 though.
Cody Zeller had like 35. Cody Zeller. Okay, I think Gary Trent, he needs to prove a little bit more. I think he's a
Yeah,
one-game wonder.
But it's a
for now.
standout. He's a standout because he went for 25, 30 in some nights in Portland. He's put up those numbers a couple times. Not 44, but he's put up a bunch of points. I think he's a really good He's a really good shooting guard. I like him a lot. He's
I think-
also from Duke, so he might be a little biased, but I do like him a lot.
Got that Laker jersey over there. It's a kid, man.
Yeah. My standout for the week is Anthony Edwards. And Anthony Edwards, he plays for the Timberwolves. And the Timberwolves, I look at their roster, and I don't understand how they're so bad.
I agree.
It
with
makes
that.
no sense.
They have
But
an almost all-star center Karl Anthony Towns.
he's an all-star. He just
Yeah.
doesn't play. He just gets hurt.
They have D'Angelo Russell, who has been an all-star. And they have Anthony Edwards, who's been playing out of his mind recently. I think Anthony Edwards...
This is why I think he's not a standout for this week. Because he's been good the whole
He's not.
after All-Star break. He's putting up 24 a game.
Yeah, but he's
So why is he
he's
just
on
a standout
'cause he's
this
on an
week?
incline. He started and he's
Yeah.
been
But
going up, and now he's reaching his peak of the season.
I think
I
he was
agree
reaching
with
his peak
that.
of the season, like
I think
last
before
week and the
I
week
think
before also.
I think before it was more inconsistent, and right now it's starting to just become a nightly thing.
I also think
I think he's going to be an all-star next
Coming
year.
into
Bold
this
take.
season-
He could be.
I think he's
He
going to be an
could be.
all-star
coming
next
into the season, I honestly thought Anthony Edwards was just going to be kind of a defensive dunker, but the fact that he's averaged 17 points this year, that surprised me.
Yeah.
year. And after all-star break, I think he's averaging
Yeah.
24.
It's been insane.
Yeah.
So Anthony Edwards, I agree with that standout. But Andre Drummond, I think he's always been good.
Yeah.
I think he's had a better season, but I don't know.
And I think
if-
what
I
we
don't-
forget-
I think you're being biased towards fantasy basketball and towards what he really brings to the table, though. In fantasy, he's nuts.
I
because
said he
just
was a
gets ton
defensive
of-
stopper and a rebounder and a guy that you
Yeah.
shouldn't build a team around.
Yeah, I know, but you're also saying that he's always been good. So how has he always been good if you don't want to build a team around?
Because he's not that type of guy.
Yeah, he's not that type of guy.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I think he's a standout because he beat the Nets last night.
I mean,
Virtually by himself because
What I-
Schroeder was gone,
what I mean by
got kicked
the
out.
fact that he's always been good, I think that he's always been good. I think he definitely has
He's
had
been a known player.
he's had a better season this year, but I just wouldn't go as far as to say that he's a standout.
I don't know. I think not playing in a while, because he got that toe injury and played barely any minutes for the Lakers and didn't play at all. Played very early on in the season, but then sat out. And then he first real game back, I'd say, when he got like a lot of minutes and he put up 20 something and 15 or something.
Yeah.
Double. I mean, I kind of see him as a standout. I don't think he's that great of a player.
Okay.
All right. So moving on, the answer to the trivia question you've all been waiting for this episode. The question once again was who has thrown the most career no-hitters. Your options were Cy Young, Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, and Sandy Koufax. The answer was Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan, 7 no-hitters in his career. Sandy Koufax was second with 4. So Nolan Ryan takes this one. So if you got it right, congrats. If you didn't, next episode, get it right.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of 5280 Real Talk. We look forward to pumping out as many episodes as we can. And also, don't forget to subscribe and follow our Instagram. Thank you.